Welcome everyone. Today is going to be a bit of a special type of video. You normally don't see these types of things from me, but I thought it might be interesting. On the 13th of December, we celebrate something called Lucia in Sweden. Yep, that's the thing. And we also have a thing called Lucia buns that we either eat along with coffee, tea, hot cocoa, or mulled wine. Now today I'm going to show you how to make these traditional Swedish Lucia buns. So in case you know a native Swede or someone who is of Swedish descent and that actually likes the traditional Swedish stuff, or if you just want to try new things, then this might be a video that you might enjoy. The ingredients and the amounts will be shown below. Now I use the metric system and it will show as the metric system. If you don't use the metric system and is a barbarian or whatnot, then please feel free to translate to the desired blasphemic system. So without further ado, take it away, me. Thank you, me. So, what we'll be needing to make these buns are as follows: butter, milk, flour, eggs, sugar, saffron, salt, and yeast. First, you cut up the right amount of butter. Well, first you need to open the Fort Knox of butter. Let's see now. 3, 5, 7, 12! Then you melt all the butter. In order to save time for this video, I've already done so. As all the butter has melted, you pour in all the milk, and then you add the saffron, which is not an easy thing to do with just one hand, let me tell you. And then you stir the stuff around until it's all mixed and good. And now comes the most important bit. Make sure that the buttermilk spice mix is just finger warm, not hotter. Because if it's hotter, it will kill the yeast and your buns won't rise. And they will be really, really flat and boring. Ah, perfect. Now, pour a little bit of the mix onto the yeast and whisk it until there are no yeast lumps left to be seen. Then you pour the rest of the mixture and add the sugar and some salt. And for the sake of time, I've poured all the flour into a bigger container. And then you add this as well. And now for the icky part, making the dough. And yet again, for time's sake, I've also done this off camera. And for the fact that I needed 2 hands. If you're going to use manual labor to make the dough, make sure that it's kneaded for about 10 minutes or so. If you're being a lazy arse and using a machine, then it only takes about 5 minutes. Make sure you have some spare flour to add to the mix, as it tends to get very sticky. Don't add too much though, since it needs to be sticky, or the buns will become dry. Right, so here is the kneaded dough. Add some flour on top of it and let it rest under a cloth for about 30 to 45 minutes. Night night dough! Ta-da! Good dough! It has risen quite a bit. Now put some flour on your workbench if the dough is very sticky. Grab half a fist of dough, roll it out in a long strip on the workbench. Then roll the sides in opposite direction to one another. Now, the first time rolling with one hand wasn't easy. I get better though. Once you're done rolling, flatten it with a good squish. Yippo! What the hell? We're making Lucia buns, not Brontocia buns. You have some weird stuff going on in that head of yours, don't you? Ah, well. I guess we can have some Brontocia buns. It's not traditional, but I'll let it slide. Right, as I said, I got better at the rolling part. Roll the squiggles in opposite direction to one another and flatten it. The smaller you make the dough, the more squiggles you get. Now once you've made all the buns, then put them on a baking paper on a baking plate. Now the buns will get bigger than they are, so make sure that there is enough room between them. Mini Lucia buns. Now take some cloth and put the buns to sleep once more. Another 30 to 45 minutes is what they need. They will wake up refreshed and ready to be baked. Nighty night. Now put the oven to 200 degrees Celsius, or just below 400 if you're using Fahrenheit. Right, let's have a look. Oh my, you have grown, haven't you? Wow! Looks like one of the Brontocia buns got knocked up while under the cover. And now, let's make some egg whisk to brush the buns with. Crack the egg and whisk for a bit. This is usually the part when you put raisins in the little squiggles. But no, to warm raisins. It's disgusting. Even if it's fairly easy to remove the raisins from the buns, just no. Whoever thought it was a good idea to have raisins in Lucia buns should have been taken out back and be flogged for the heresy. Now, start brushing the buns. I'm gonna speed this up a bit. Now there's a reason for brushing the buns with the whisked egg, and you'll see once the buns have baked, because I left one of the buns unbrushed. Now it's time to put them in the oven. Bake the smaller to medium ones in the middle of the oven for about 9 minutes or so, and the really big ones at the bottom of the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. And by the magic of editing, we now have baked Lucia buns. Be careful though, they're pretty hot. I said careful! And that is why the Brontochia went extinct. They lost their front legs and became easy prey for other dinos. Now, leave the buns on a grate under some cloth for one last sleep. Once they've cooled down a bit, they are ready to be served. And here we see the reason for brushing the buns with eggs. You can clearly see which one hasn't been brushed. It doesn't have the same golden glow and it kinda looks bland and boring. And there we are! Now you know how to make Lucia buns. If you aren't planning on eating them right away, they can without any problem be frozen and then reheated when you're ready to serve them. Enjoy the buns, everyone, and thanks for watching this unusual video from me. Hope you had fun. Bye for now.